this as well. Hopefully I didn't steal them from Games Night. I don't know if they were using the Lenbot or not. I guess we'll find out if Lynn appears here. Complaining. Let's see what happens. So today we're going to be talking about the article from Tuesday, which was the one that was talking about art history and specifically about some colours that were used in some specific paintings and some of the extra meaning. I know when we were reading it together, we didn't get a chance to read about very many of the pictures. I think we read about we only got to read about the first two, right? I don't know if anybody had a chance to read anything about the other pictures as well. But that's okay. Let's talk about what you did read or what you remember. And maybe one of the things we can do is we can actually go through and have a look at each of these different pictures and talk about each of them individually as well. So let's see. But to start, what do you remember from the article? What were some of the things that it discussed? Doesn't have to be a lot, remember? It can just be like one little detail, two little details. And you can't nominate other people. You have to nominate yourself. Manu, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Konstantin. I didn't have the opportunity to read the entire article twice, but I found it very interesting because I like the topic about colors, and the article was very interesting. It mentioned a book from a woman who wanted to recount the origin of the main pigments, colors used by artists, painters in the past, and it said that colors can give a really secret and more alluring meaning to paintings that we think we know very well. So he cited, for instance, the blue, the ultramarine blue, which is usually used in the turban of a girl, the famous painting, the girl with a pearl earrings by Vermeer. I suppose I'm right. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure if I can remember exactly the name of the painters. And also from the title of the article, there was she mentioned another very interesting hue of blue, which is Prussian blue, which was used by another famous Japanese artist for his painting a great wave of the coast of a place in Japan too, and also a painting by Picasso, if I'm not wrong. So the article was about mentioning the origin of these pigments. For instance, the article said that Prussian blue, for instance, derived from an alchemist who thought you wanted to produce an illicit elixir to cure all humans' ailments, but he went wrong. He bungled the recipe, and he wanted to discard the brew, what he had obtained so far, but his attendant, another person working with him, wanted to retain this failed pigment, and wanted to add a few fistful of crimson, maybe beetles, something, some kind of reddish beetles crushed in the cauldron, and stirring the mixture, and they obtained something that was supposed to be red as well, but it wasn't. It was kind of bluish, kind of bubbling mixture, and it was kind of shimmering blue, kind of metallic blue, maybe something very new. And since this point, any other painters decided to use this extraordinary hue, which also in replacing replacing the ultramarine blue, which was largely used by the other painters, but it was very expensive. And then the article cited the several cases of colors of pigments that gave a very extraordinary tone to paintings. For instance, there was a painter, kind of a painter named Singer, maybe, who painted a woman, the wife of a French banker, and used a new hue, the bones black, mixed with other colors, maybe lead, mother rose, viridian, and other colors, to come up with a bluish, kind of bluish complexion of this woman, which was a bit uneasy, a bit uncomfortable to watch, because it suggested desire, because the woman depicted was very attractive woman, but also the composition. So it suggested the fleetingness of the flesh, blurring the line between life and death, maybe also. And then he used this kind of bone black, which was a pigment derived by the pulverization of incinerated skeletons. And also there was another painting, which was by Vermeers, which was the woman with the wine glass, which depicted this woman being tempted by a suitor. A suitor who wanted wanted to have her drunk, so giving her repeatedly sips of wine, um, and while the chaperone was was sleeping in a corner. So also this painting was a bit uncomfortable and easy to watch, because you thought this sculptor was insisting too much to have the favor of this lady. So to give more power to this painting, Vermeer thought to soak the lady dress with this very intensive kind of rose red, which was obtained by the root of this herbaceous perennial herb, which was a very inflamed red, and it produced an organic compound called alizarin, and then it is kind of alizarin U, this kind of very powerful red, gave a very intensive power to this painting. It was focused on the lady dress, so giving maybe a sense of power onto the lady rather than onto the sculptor. And also there was another painting, the Balthazar Feast by another painter. I don't remember, where there was a very intensive kind of yellow with which the painter depicted the words written by God on the upper right corner of this painting. It was another extraordinary color, yellow, and it was derived by a scientist who was able to identify the way all the painters came up with this yellow, because since the 17th century, painters, this kind of yellow disappeared from paintings. So he was able to come up with this very versatile yellow, which could range from a kind of mustard yellow, more darkish yellow, to a very bright yellow. So it was another example. And speaking of yellow, there was also the case of the Van Gogh, maybe, who painted this little tiny moon in his painting, in his of a starry sky, and this yellow was derived from distilled cow's urine, for instance. That was another interesting part about the origin of these colors. And also another interesting painting was was another painting depicting a nymph representing a month, June, nymph representing June, where there is this slumbering nymph underneath the horizon, and this figure is lying beside a plant, oleander, which is a lethal kind of plant. So the painting could represent a sense of death, of burial also. But since the painter used this very bright kind of chrome orange, it gives all another sense to the painting. So giving this sense of immortality maybe to all the composition. So the colors could modify entirely the sense you could give to the painting, considering just the figure, the composition. The brightness of colors could change your mood and give a sense of enduring vitality to the composition. Also, there was the case of the emerald green, which was used to cover the sea in another painting about where there were two ladies drifting on a boat in summertime, I suppose, and this was this sense of this emerald green giving a very obscure sense to all the composition. So it is difficult to explain, and so thank you. This is what I remember most. Thank you.
Thank you. Fantastic. No, I can see that this article really caught your attention because you remembered a lot more details than normally. So you can tell when somebody's more interested in the topic. They normally remember a lot more of it. Okay. Let's check with everybody else. Did anyone want to add any other details? Are there any of the other pictures or paintings from the article that you wanted to comment on, or any other details that you wanted to mention about it? There's always something else to add, see. And it's good to hear different ways that people explain the same thing sometimes as well, because there's more than one way to explain the same thing. Okay, nothing else? Nobody wants to add anything else in general about it? Konstantin?
Thank you so much. And I same to Manu. I like this topic because I have a basic education in history of art, and it's something that I a little bit know. Maybe I would like to add it is also about green emerald, and it was some arsenic. It contains some arsenic, and it was very poison material, and it's according to legend the wallpaper in Napoleon Bonaparte bedroom was made by using this pigment, so it was a reason of his death. Yes, that. And also, it is maybe I read some additional topic, some additional articles from this author, and I find out a lot of interesting things. So she is a specialist in the colors and in the painting in general. So I enjoyed her articles. So also maybe in general, also I would like to add the invention of some colors. It was a revolution in painting environment, because if you have more cheaper colors and you have more abilities, and some artists and painters using that opportunity to express something more, and about the production of the colors is pure alchemistry, for my opinion, because it was always related to some dangerous materials, and it was toxic, and a lot of people make was poisoned, um, and it is about the finding some chemical chemical substance, and it is and for example aquamarine color, it was related with wellness, and it was very expensive. It's comparable to gold in sometimes, and it also relates on symbolism of the painting we have in mentioned article. And it is also, but the topic of article, it was maybe more how these colors was invented, and how it produced, and origin of these colors. So maybe that's it, and the main idea, and colors bring us some information, and it is information not about the bugs you put in the some pot and make some alchemistry, but also what is behind the masterpieces we know very good. So it's maybe some fresh view for me for these paintings, because it is not the semantic meaning, it is not the what color mean, but what the color origin. So it was interesting to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, and you had a few good points that I wanted to discuss more, and now I'm not sure which one to start with. Maybe let's start with the idea of, because I think you're right, the article was really concentrating on maybe two things. The way that these colors were produced, so like the new or the strange ways that these colors were actually made, and also the idea, not maybe the meaning that we would generally associate with the painting, but maybe an extra meaning that the paintings get because they've used this color, which was maybe created or discovered in an unusual way. Maybe let's start with the way that these were made. I'm trying to think of what my question is here. I want to kind of make it general to give you guys a lot to talk about. I don't want to make it too specific. Konstantin, go ahead.
Thank you so much. And let me add something. And maybe you form your question while I'm add some interesting detail. For example, I have a painter, my friends, a painter, and they use watercolor, and it's some professional hobby habit. And then you put paint on the paper, and you fill the water in your brush, and there's some accident. You don't want to draw the part of the color drop on the paper. So you have to put it using your mouth, and it is very dangerous because it's a bad professional habit, because colors contains a lot of chemical elements that can be very harmful to painter. Thank you.
Yes, especially when we consider what some of these were made of. I think today they may be a little bit safer than some of the ones they're mentioning here, but you're right, there's still a lot of chemicals involved. Probably not something you should be putting in your mouth. See, what do you think?
Hello. Yeah, first of all, this is not my kind of alley. I'm not that much into painting, so I can just provide a general overview of what I thought of this article in general. So I was just writing. I'm not that fluent in speaking fastly and this. So I was just writing what I was thought about it. So yeah, first of all, the main thing the article tells about is just the how colors were made, how colors were used in at that those eras. It argues that color is never what it seems, and that it can reveal surprisingly layers. Uh, there are many masterpieces that are made using these colors. Firstly, for example, the Persian blue, how it was just excellently invented, and not and further down the years, it was used by great artists like Picasso and Monet. One thing that the main highlight for me was that the text claimed that the color never forgets its origin, that it shapes the meaning of artwork in which it features. There were main 7 colors in total, and should also add that yeah, I should also add that throughout the passage, it was explaining that how colors were uh, origin and how they were contrasting too. For example, in when author was explaining about the black color, first it was he talked about how things were turned into scandal about how the color was made, how black color represented mystery and power, plus it represented sophistication and authority of the woman, as well as in when we talked about red color, it was first the man was painted in black color, and the lady was painted in red color, and author highlighted that the power of the painting from came from the lady, and the lady was just whole vibe of the painting was colored in black and red mainly, and also gray in neutral in center, like neither of this point and neither of that point. Yeah, that should be it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Yeah, I think And I understand there'll be some topics maybe that you'll be more interested in than others, but that's okay. It just means some topics you'll talk more, or some days you'll talk more than others. Everybody gets a turn. But yeah, I think there's some good points there, some important points there. The fact that things are made maybe from some strange ingredients, and maybe some of the habits they had or the ways that they were inventing colours then, probably not ways that we would try to do it now just for health and safety reasons. So I was able to write my question better than I could speak my question. So just in case not everyone saw it, I guess my second question, I don't know how many questions I'm up to now. But my next question is, did you know about how these colors were made? What are your thoughts about the way they were created and also the ingredients, like what they were created from? Konstantin?
Thank you so much. And excuse me, please, you and guys, I take maybe a little bit time. So I knew about the origin most of the colors, but I have some new information reading this article, not the only one article, but articles, because I read also some additional article about the color and their origin. For my opinion, creating the colors is some kind of alchemistry. It's some miracle, because I watched some movies about medieval painters, and they prepared in their workshop colors. They have not opportunity to go to the supermarket or special shop to buy colors, and they prepared it personally, and it was related to some dangerous process. And maybe I was not surprised of ingredients. So it's a chemical process, and we can observe nature around us, and plenty of colors we have. So a lot of them contains some poisons or very dangerous, and some mechanism, for example, in nature, when some insects have red or bright color, so it's maybe the sign they are poisoned. So it's a mechanism in nature, and preparing and inventing some colors also relates of this kind of dangerous. And even we use some urine or maybe some ingredients from the schools and from the elements, maybe a little bit unexpected, but it's a nature, and using full power of nature, it is related to use some kind of which kind of material to prepare some colors and something like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I just thought of another really good question. But first, I want to know, what does everyone else think about this? How do you feel about what they were using to create colors? Because a lot of the ingredients weren't so nice, right? There were some pretty disgusting ingredients and some pretty dangerous ones as well. Manu?
Yes, thank you. What was surprising to read is getting colors, pigments from urine or animal excrements. So it was amazing to understand. But I thought, for instance, I knew, for instance, that some pigments in the past were obtained by the eggs, by mixing the eggs yolk maybe, and adding some other substances to it. And also it makes sense that they used, as mentioned in the article, crushed colorful insects, for instance. Also the red beetles. It makes sense. Maybe having to dry them up, the insects, and then crushing them, and also using plants, drying up plants and cutting them and grinding them. So it makes sense as well, and also crushing kind of rocks and wood art, as mentioned in the article. It makes sense as well. So everything they used in the daily routine in the past, they could use to come up with pigments. And also it is interesting, the process mentioned in the article, by which they obtained lead white. They said they put lead strips beside vinegar, a pot of vinegar, and also letting animal excrements to ferment nearby. So there was this mixing of acetate. Acetate, it is this acid compound from vinegar, and as mixing it with the fumes of the animal excrements fermenting, festering nearby. So there was this acid fume acting on the lead to produce this white patina up over the strips. So it was something I suppose happened by chance. They didn't suppose this could happen because these three elements, fermenting excrements and vinegar and the lead strips, maybe were put in different corner of their room, and it all happened by chance. So they discovered this white patina, and also I think also mold. They used the mold. They found mold on food, and they could come up also with this substance to produce this new pigment. So this is something also happened by chance, in my idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, this is what confuses me a little bit, because there are some really strange combinations here. And as you said, Benu, obviously some of them happened by chance. But, what were they doing that they were letting, like lead strips and a bucket of vinegar and excrement kind of sit in a closed room together for months? I mean, what exactly were those three things doing in there in the first place, who kind of made that combination in the first place to just kind of see what happens, or to kind of make the mistake? Some of these are like really strange, and you wonder what on earth they were actually doing to kind of decide to mix some of these things together. Definitely a messy room. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit worried about some of the hygiene practices of some of these old painters, maybe. They definitely weren't the cleanest people, I think, in the world. Z, what would you like to add?
First of all, I would like to say that listening to this has really thrown me off right now. I actually don't know what to say in particular. Especially after what Manu's whole said in the last topic. But I would like to add one thing like in general, paintings are a very important part of human culture. Where our first recorded any form of recording were in form of paintings. There was no words, nothing. It's just some paintings from humans hunting things and doing that. So yeah, paintings in general is very important part of human history. So yeah, people are gonna explore different things and they're going to go in some weird ways. Yeah, some of this are quite alarming shouldn't be word. Disturbing to read about and learn about. But if those people haven't taken the initiative, things would have been quite different how were turned out. Plus, I would like to add a question of myself. Oh, yeah, question of mine too. So, what do you guys think influence what this color represents in modern society? Like we associate color red with anger and green with nature and kind of things. So yeah, if things were kind of different, do you think these colors would have represented different things uh, in general in this time? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, good question. So I guess the article was focused on what these colors maybe meant back in that time, but what about colors today? What kind of associations do you make with different colors today? Konstantin?
If I understand right, the question is maybe I would like to warn you to not um, be cheating by false friends because every color have different meaning in different culture. For example, in Chinese culture, white color is associated with a death. But in European culture is about some clear and about some virginity or something like that. And another colors also have different meanings. And if we say, for example, about green, the nature is green and our planet also called green, so it is maybe more international and maybe it is associated with nature and it brings some harmony. But just notice wallpaper in Napoleon Bonaparte's bedroom was also were also green, but they contains arsenic, and maybe that is the reason that kills him day by day and moment by moment. So, and I don't know how to recognize some universal meaning for colors, and if we take some masterpieces, it is also differ from each from one painting to another, and there is not universal understanding of meaning of colors. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Z. I think I might have misunderstood a little bit. I understand the first part, the first phrase here, if the color were used in a different context by those artists. I'm not sure if I understand the second part, though. What do you mean, how it would have affected today's world? Do you mean how it would have affected what we think about those artworks, or what we would think about those colors, or could you explain a little bit more about the second part?
Excuse
I
me,
was
I am
mainly
not sure.
asking.
Yeah.
Uh,
Continue,
this
please.
may
Continue. Yes.
Okay, I
Continue.
was not sure how if those colors were used in different contexts. Like red was used for representing nature somehow. Yeah, in some kind of different things. So how would that have affected in how we use colors today? Uh, would it be gone on same line that we today also would have used red as nature, or would have would it would have been changed down the line?
Okay. So if we, it's more about, let's maybe use one of the pictures here as like a reference to help us understand. So for example, like if in that first picture, if, you know, instead of this woman wearing maybe like a black dress, she was wearing like a yellow dress. And, you know, maybe the table in the background were like green or something like this. Maybe that would change what we would think about the colors, like yellow and black. Is that kind of the question?
Yeah, what would happen if artists explained things the same way he's explaining now, but colors were different. He was explaining black as this as yeah, he was explaining black as a morning no, he was explaining red as a morning color. Yeah, we have morning and green colors kind of things. How would things have changed on in that path? Or in second picture, he's using black as a dark and sinister color. He's representing a sleazy kind of thing. Or in that place, he still would have uh, explained him as a sleazy character, but with green color or red, blue color. How would things have changed on that path?
Okay, that's a very difficult question, Z. Let's see if anybody can answer. Does everybody understand the question? The idea, like maybe if we'd used colors in a different way, then we would like associate different things with them, and how maybe it would have changed our perception of them. What do you guys think? Manu?
I'm not sure of having understood the question exactly, but I think the effect given by these paintings depicted in the article was due also to the fact that these new color hue were a novelty for the time, I suppose. So it was amazing for the fact that it was used for the first time, maybe also. And then also thinking with our modern contemporary mind, I think these paintings are extraordinary as well. Also now to watch. I think for instance the complexion of the woman depicted the French banker wife, this complexion of bluish kind, so pale but also a bit bluish, is amazing. Also now, I think I wouldn't think how to change the painting. To me is amazing. Also now, it is an open mouth, an open mouthing. I don't know if it is amazing. I know if I had this painting hanging in my room, every time I watched it, I went, wow, it is extraordinary. It is a masterpiece. So we are speaking of masterpieces, not ordinary paintings. Also the Vermeer's lady with the wine glass. You can see the Mother Rose dress is a punch when you watch at it, because it is coming out of the painting. It is so bright. It is coming out. So it shocked you in a way. Also, if you watch it repeatedly. So I think the effect is amazing also now. And also, if nowadays is no more a novelty, and think of the woman with the pearl earring. It is a masterpiece that also now you can watch and being struck with surprise, with amazement, because it's a wonderful painting. So, speaking of masterpieces, I think I wouldn't change a comma in everything is made. For me, it's a perfection, not a cue.
Thank you. Yeah, I think with some of these colors, I think the colors have a certain meaning because of how they appear in real life. I think we associate green with nature, for example, which may be one of the ones that we can say is more worldwide, because nature is green. Trees are green, grass is green, plants are green. So there's like a logical maybe connection there between the color and what we associate it with. Maybe some of the other colors aren't so obvious, like white or red or even blue sometimes. But maybe because of that, the meaning wouldn't change so much, because our association with them or the meaning we give them comes from where we actually see them naturally around us. The idea like red of being danger comes from nature as well. Plants and animals that are dangerous often have red. So there's kind of like it's not that we've just decided to give colors a certain meaning. It's because that's how they're naturally found around us without us kind of creating them or putting them anywhere, if that makes sense. Konstantin?
Thank you so much. And if you don't mind, I would like to add some interesting maybe details. I'm not sure, maybe you knew it before, but maybe in Netherlands, they have their national color is orange, and maybe all you know is about vegetable. It's wait a minute, please. Excuse me, because I'm a little bit worried. Carrot, yes, carrot. So a carrot, and it has an orange color, and this special color was invented by Dutch agriculture masters, like a tribute to Duke of Oranje, and it was maybe aristocrats and who was kings of Netherlands. So they give an orange color carrot special, and it was a tribute to their kings and queen. Thank you. And before that, carrot was not orange, it was a white color. It has a white color.
Okay, so that's interesting. Maybe then we can do a little bit of that changing, like Z was talking about. um, maybe it kind of changed.
Yes, and I don't want to we came to agriculture topic, so it's about more about the color, and the color is everything, and it's around us, and it is matter. For example, in some situation, it has a very significant meaning. So even the maybe it is not relate to the masterpieces because they are outlaw. They're something special. So, but in common life, colors have a big meaning. For example, traffic lights. We have green, red, and white. And green it is go, and green it is. The meaning maybe it is more positive. You have to continue your moving, but in some situation green is bad color, is not about moving, maybe more about you preparing to death or something like that. And also red color is a color of dangerous, but not always, because for example some women using lipstick make their lips red, so it's attractive. It is not about dangerous in the form as in the traffic light. Thank you.
Who knows? Maybe it is a sign of danger. Maybe it depends on the context, maybe. Okay. I have one last question for you all now before we finish for today. And Youssef, I think this is even a question that you can answer. You don't need to have any art knowledge for this, because everybody knows the picture Starry Night from Van Gogh, right? I think it's a pretty famous picture. What I wanted to ask everybody was, does your opinion of this picture, has it changed at all? Are you thinking about this picture differently now that you know the sun, moon, the moon, I guess, the moon in the corner there, that really kind of yellowy, kind of bright yellow color they've used, that they made that color from cow's urine. Does that make you feel differently or think differently about this picture now that you know this fact? Because I have to admit that every time now that I look at this picture or I hear about this picture, I'm going to remember that fact. I won't be able to help myself. My brain is going to remember that idea and kind of go a little bit like, ew. Konstantin?
Thank you so much. And for me personally, nothing changed because I knew it before. And maybe, it is just price we have to pay. It is understanding of what the material contain of. But also I heard of my friend who watched painting of Van Gogh in origin. So they have also very big sculpture. I don't know how it explain. It's just 3D structure because a lot of paint on the canvas, and it's something unique. And without what is material origin from, it is absolutely masterpiece. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so for you, it didn't really change at all because you already knew it. Okay. See, what about for you? Does it change your thoughts about this painting now?
I think not much has changed It's more like, yeah, I appreciate it more like the artist has worked more hard. Things were way different, and he has worked in such, he has done such experiments and used such kind of things to provide what was in his mind to world. So I think I appreciate a bit more of this artist. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it actually. I might have to take that into consideration. Maybe it'll help me get over my eel factor when I think about it. Okay, Yusuf, what about you? Just so we can hear your voice today.
Okay, I'll give you this to hear my voice, but I would say I have zero knowledge and I have zero interest in painting, to be honest. So today I'm in the wrong session. But I'm just here to listen your opinion, guys, and see what is going on. That's it. Thank you.
No problem. Hopefully next week you'll have more luck with the topics. Okay. Well, we might have to finish here, unfortunately, for today. But I will put a link to the post here on Discord. So if you want to leave any other thoughts or ideas, or you want to keep discussing it a bit more, you can do it a little bit there myself. But no, this is a scary thought. I'm not quite sure that I want everybody experimenting to make new paint colors now, especially not using the article as inspiration. I would like you all to be alive for the sessions next week. Okay, but I hope that you all enjoyed the session, even if the topic maybe wasn't everyone's cup of tea. But hopefully it was still interesting. And hopefully I will see you all again next week, as long as you don't make too many dangerous experiments producing your own paint colours. So thank you, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye.